Hi, and welcome to the Cute North Georgian podcast. I'm your host, Carly McVeary, senior editor of the Cute North Georgian magazine, here to celebrate everything that makes North Georgia unique and special. This is a podcast for North Georgians by North Georgians, where we shine a spotlight on small businesses, local events, and the fascinating people in our community. Whether you're looking for something new to discover or simply love supporting small businesses, you're in the right place. So let's dive into the best of North Georgia together. Today, we are featuring Rich and Savvy's Cigar and Bourbon Lounge. And welcome, Rich, to our podcast. Nice to have you on today. Thank you. So, Rich, smokers get a bad rap. I don't smoke myself, but I sympathize with those who do, huddled in the rain, standing 100 feet sometimes from buildings just to enjoy their adult activity of choice. It seems like they're treated worse than basically anyone. If you ask people whether they'd rather share a bench with like the Joker or like Pinochet or a great white shark, I feel like they might pick the great white shark.
Probably.
Rather than sitting next to a smoker, which feels so unfair because smokers are generally very considerate about when and how they indulge, right?
Sure.
So you might have a drinker, right? Getting kind of sloshed at a family-friendly Applebee's, right? They're not as considerate as many smokers I've met that they'll ask you 9 times out of 10, can I smoke a cigarette? Or where can I smoke a cigarette? They get a bad rap.
Sure, absolutely. Cigarettes and cigars couldn't be further from each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're apples and oranges. Anything that you're sucking into your lungs as the primary source of its euphoria is going to be bad. Almost like binge drinking versus sipping alcohol. Sipping alcohol is more socially acceptable. At the same time, it does a whole lot less harm to your body as somebody who's guzzling alcohol. What we try to educate people on here is cigars is more of an art form, and it really is. There's a lot of time that goes into a single cigar. One single cigar could take up to 3 or 4 years just to make one single cigar.
I had no idea.
From the processing, from it becoming a seedling, all the way to being harvested, and each single plant is hand picked. It is very labor intensive, and it's all over the world. It's not anything that is isolated to Cuba or to Nicaragua or to Guatemala or to the Dominican Republic. It's all over the world, from Africa, Spain, here in the United States, down the Caribbean to South America, Central America, and where it comes from also differentiates what you get. It is an art form, and there's a lot of time and energy by artisans to make it happen.
That is amazing. My mind's actually blown, and we're only 2 minutes into this podcast. I had no idea that it could take years, but it makes sense. Like, I agree with you. It's definitely artisanal,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's something that's grown and crafted and made into this final polished product.
It is, and the people who actually roll the cigars, there might be 3 or 4 different places that particular tobacco came from. The filler may be different from the wrapper, and the wrapper may be different from it. It all is differentiated by, or excuse me, the final product is differentiated by where that different tobacco comes from and its age, how long it has sat and matured in order to create this hand-rolled cigar. Each and every cigar, unlike cigarettes, each cigar is hand-rolled by an artisan. Somebody physically touched this, and by the time it's all done, you may have 20 hands that have touched that one over a 5-year period.
See, I've always instinctively known there was a difference between cigars and cigarettes, but I was never able to articulate it.
Sure.
And that makes a lot of sense.
And cigars in of themselves have come a long way. Over the last 25, 30 years, the artistic value of cigars has greatly increased. We have everything from flavored to infused, where we're actually infusing flavors into it that you wouldn't even know you're smoking a cigar. We don't inhale this into our lungs. If you're inhaling cigars into your lungs, you are completely doing this wrong. It should not go far past your lips, because it is the aroma that we're looking for. It's the flavors that we're looking for. And once you've been doing it long enough, you figure out what your palate is, how strong or how, what we call maduro, which means how how uh, how uh, how mellow of a cigar that your palate needs versus how bold it can possibly be in order for you to be satisfied and your palate be satisfied. So it's up to the smoker as well to find their pleasure point in the smoking of cigars and pipes.
Gotcha. Okay. So I take it you smoke cigars, and are you ready to make a definitive statement to tell the world or the 40 people that watch this podcast at any given moment? Uh, do you smoke cigars? And if so, what do you like about smoking cigars?
Wow, great question. I do. I really do like smoking cigars. I smoke a pipe and I smoke cigars, and I've been doing it for about 30 years. And growing up, I I I just fell in love with cigars, the smoke, the environment, especially growing up around the Tampa region. That was something that's a part of the culture down there. But I really could say I started smoking cigars around the time I was in the Marine Corps. And yeah, the military, yeah, it's a cultural thing with the Marine Corps. People, tobacco and alcohol are just kind of a military thing.
I went to University of North Georgia in Dahlonega.
What's that?
It's a military college.
Yeah,
near here, and I know that there were a lot of baby cigar smokers there.
Yeah, for sure, And in just like young people, you take everything to the extreme. Where cigars is the the draw to cigars, especially as you get older, is the draw to relaxation. It's sitting down. It's taking your time. It forces you to take an hour out of your day and maybe sit with some friends, sit by yourself, sit and do nothing but relax, which is kind of that's the new prosperity in the world, is being able to relax.
It is. It used to be the flex, just they've got 2 jobs and a small yacht, but now it is truly the ability to take a cigar, to take a nice cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
To take time to unwind and do something other than occupy your mind with a screen or your job.
Absolutely. And it's funny you even say that about coffee. Most people believe that alcohol is what pairs with a good cigar. And it really isn't. Where I come from, it's very rare to find alcohol paired directly with cigars. As the first instinct, where I come from, it's coffee. Because coffee is actually the first cousin to tobacco. They're normally raised in the same ground or harvested in the same soil. Where tobacco and bourbon couldn't be more opposite than each other. So I always tell people, start with a good espresso coffee. It really pulls the flavor.
What inspired you to open this cozy lounge right here in Clarksville? What made you realize that Clarksville needed a Rich and Savvy's?
Well, originally we lived in Cleveland, and I really like Cleveland. Cleveland has everything they're looking for, also in a small town. But as we started driving around, there wasn't really any good locations that I felt like, wow, this is where I look to invest in for cigar lounge. We didn't really look at cigar lounges as the first option, but this is something we like to do together. So we started looking around, and there was nothing even compared without going all the way to Atlanta. So we just decided, hey, let's give it a try. So we looked all over the place and found this place actually on accident. It was.
That is how it always
is. It is, and it was a rainy day, and the former tenants were leaving, and the for rent sign was going up in the window simultaneously for us driving in the parking lot. And it was a congested parking lot, and even thought, everybody don't even want to mess with that area because it's so congested.
Mm-hmm.
Best, 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 best decision I ever made was driving into the parking lot and seeing that for rent sign go up.
It's always worth looking.
It is. It is. So, the city is actually the one who made this happen. Our mayor here and the city council, they were very, they were very small business friendly.
Good.
They were accommodating to our requests as far as making something that legally on the books that they had prepared in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They changed a lot of the laws and restrictions, and they decided let's give something a try. And
That's
so,
amazing.
I've owned businesses in other areas of the country, and this is the easiest one I've ever opened. Opening a business in Clarksville has to be hands down one of the easiest processes I've ever gone through.
Entrepreneurs, listen up.
And I recommend coming to Clarksville to start a small business over anything that's surrounding us.
It's amazing. So we've talked before in other podcast episodes about the concept of the third space, that place between work and home where people can truly relax and connect. Can you explain how that philosophy plays a role in the vibe you've created at Mission 7?
Wow, that's a great question.
Thank you.
For my personal, I tend to be a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
I work on average 12 to 14-hour days, but that's because I enjoy it. I enjoy working. I get up early, but I also include my time at the gym. I include my running around. I include going and networking with other people. I include that in my work schedule.
Right.
So my work home is definitely out of balance, but it's by my own choice. I do find that a lot of my clientele coming here and they make this a part of their work. They come, they sit, they unwind either before going home or during the day, or they come and do their business here. Our Wi-Fi is specific for business people, so they can come and do business here. And believe it or not, even though I'm a cigar lounge and a craft cocktail lounge,
Mm-hmm.
We encourage people to come here and do neither. Just come and do business. We buy a mocktail, a non-alcoholic beverage, and I would say probably 55 to 60% of our people that come here don't smoke at all, or they don't drink at all. And we're okay with any of it. We want people to just come and enjoy our atmosphere, workspaces. Nowadays it's a big thing.
It is.
And we think we're as good a workspace as any place that you're going to find. And a lot of people spend a lot of money on offices and this, but at the end of the day, they just want to get out and do something and see a new environment. So we have people come and do their meetings, their Zoom meetings, they write their paperwork up, and I think that this is a part of that home work balance.
Mm-hmm.
Is coming to a place like this where they can unwind either during the day or after work.
Do you see students from Piedmont University come in?
I would like to see more.
Mm-hmm.
I see more of them from the trade school,
right?
Because we're right down the road from them. Piedmont has not yet learned of us yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do encourage is we really encourage the young men to come here and be with the older men.
That is amazing. I love that.
That is our biggest thrill, as far as what we call the gentleman years, is to sit with young people, and we use this environment to teach them how to talk, how to be in the presence of men, how to act, how to sip whiskey, or even to understand cigars, whiskey. We want them to understand business. We want them to understand economics on the way the world works in itself.
Women?
Women as well.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, 56% of my clientele is women.
Yeah.
We like that. We love that.
Yeah.
We learn as much.
Husband, boyfriend.
Absolutely. We learn as much from them as the young men can learn from us. And yeah, we have some of the best discussions. We have everything from every political and economic view you can think of.
Yeah.
From every from every place on the economic ladder, we have everybody that comes in here. And
that's the essence of the third space.
it is. It's such a great environment. We call ourselves the little VFW and the biggest church in town.
Yes, and it reminds me too of something that my friend Colin from FWS told me once. He said that in America, there's no third space, really. There's no place to unwind and connect. You take everything from your job and you take it home, and there's no break in between.
Right.
And so, do you find that there are people that come into Rich and Savvy's on their way back from work to just decompress?
Yes. Yes. And unlike generations of past, that was more the norm, where there were places to decompress for everybody. And I would say back in the 80s and 90s, things really started to technologically progress. TV, radio, things became it became easier just to go home and turn on the television. Where here, we come here and we socialize. And we have people all the time, every day that come here, who've never been here before, and go, wow, this is like takes me back to the 1950s, 1960s, when people had a place to go and meet new people and decompress before they go home.
There's something pretty maddening about it.
It is for sure.
So I have lived in Clarksville for about 3 years, and I have seen a variety of places come and a variety of places go. And just as soon as some signs pop up, I see a for sale sign. Yet some manage to weather the storms, and Rich and Savvy, it feels entrenched. What is it that you think makes your establishment work?
There is no doubt that there's an economic struggle going on right now, especially in small towns. We feel it. We have felt it over the summer. Everybody has. I think our ability to, first and foremost, I think one of the challenges that people do is when they come here from somewhere else, they bring somewhere else with them. I didn't bring somewhere else with me. I really did listen to the people that are from here tell me what it is they want to see. From our drinks, what we have on the shelf, to the cigars. Somebody from here has told us this is what they would like to see, and that's what we accommodate. Also, we do not overindulge in inventory. I don't have everything you can name, and I'm okay with that. I don't have my inventory is based on the amount of people that come through here realistically. I also don't chase tourism. I am not interested in all the tourists that go to hell. And I think a lot of these businesses rely on that tourism for their business and the accomplishments of their business, which can be nerve-wracking, especially right now when things have turned a little bit and people aren't traveling like they were.
And Clarksville is not, it is, I think, perhaps there's starting to become a movement to maybe try to attract more tourists.
Sure.
But it is not there yet. Right now, it is a destination on the way to the destination.
It is.
And that leads actually to my next question. So I wrote, I believe that the city of Clarksville and its residents are starting to recognize the potential of shaping a community that's more than just a stopover on the way to Clayton or Highlands, North Carolina. And so my question was, who are your customers at present? Are they local, regional, or tourists? So they're local then.
I would say that we have a great mixture of everybody. Obviously, we are going to have our local regulars, and we do cater to them. But at the same time, on a daily basis, we get people that are coming up here, looking to move up here. They're looking for information. They're looking for land. They're looking for something to buy because Clarksville, Cleveland, Clayton, Highlands, all these areas have addressed the the issue of the influx of people coming up to the best of their ability. They've managed that over the last 20 years. They've made infrastructural changes where need be. They're not there yet. And I think Clarksville is probably one of the few spots left that really might be a little bit behind the ball on the infrastructural changes that are necessary. But at the same time, that means that we don't have the luxury of just including anything and everything that comes.
That's right.
And where there's other places where the developers have taken over because the infrastructure is already there. Therefore, the developers don't have to think about those things and what they have lacked. And therefore, we may be being passed over by developers, which is a good thing. And that way we get to grow organically rather than really just seeing a spike in people coming and throwing money at a little town in hopes that they make all their money and then they move somewhere else.
Right. So that's so well articulated. And to the point of as for the local, regional, or forests, and regionally speaking, I agree with you, there is no other place like this in our region. And I was writing an article on 5 gifts to give your male loved one, essentially, for Valentine's Day. And one of the gifts that I put on the list was maybe like a gift card to a cigar lounge, right? And I had to go all the way to like Alpharetta to find a good cigar lounge. And even then, it lacks this intimacy that Rich and Savvy says. Again, you know, when I stepped in here, I thought of the 1950s. I thought of like a 1950s coal mining town, right? Or, you know, it kind of took me back, and it's even a little evocative. So when speaking regionally, I don't know of another place like Rich and Savvy's. So what would you like to see in Clarksville? It can be something more or something new or something less.
When I got here, I was drawn to the idea of this is the gateway to the Appalachians. We draw on that as a community, saying that we are an outdoor community. But I don't see a lot that recognizes that in a way that's fitting for all of us. It's not inclusive. When you talk about the gateway to the Appalachians, you see more the young people being able to climb mountains and do that sort of thing. And then you talk about the golf courses, and you see most of the older, more retired, mature people that are doing that. I would like to see a community that is more inclusive so that we can join together. That's one of the things I like about my place is that every generation is here, from baby boomers down to college kids. I have seen billionaires sit with college kids for a couple of hours and just sit and talk. And I would like to see more and more of that. I'm under no illusions that the economy itself has changed. And the young people are challenged more and more to decide, where am I going to live? Where am I going to raise my family? And though we are a great environment, they still have to look at it. And once you're here, then what? Where do I take my young children during the day? Where do I go at night? What kind of activities do we have centralized to where I'm living, so that, one, it's affordable, and two, it's continuous? Because we're very sporadic in the activities, meaning that we might have 3 events a year put on by the city, and then somebody might put one on every 6 months. But you go to the adjacent towns, there's something every weekend. Right. There's something to do, and it's in a price range that the average family who has huge mortgages, huge taxes, they have very limited time, and they may have 2 or 3 kids. They're moving to those areas where it's more affordably accessible to them, activity-wise. Right. I would like to see that here.
So that's a vision.
It is a vision, and I think it's doable. But I think we're 5 years out with the things that are coming, which I'm very excited about all the new things that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
But new things doesn't generate things to do. It just means that we're just growing and we have a new attitude. But it doesn't generate in the form of things to do. We need to be more proactive as a community in saying, "Hey, this is a hobby of mine. I bet it's a hobby to everybody. How do we do
Or
it?"
could be.
Or could be. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I love that. How would you describe the aesthetic of Rich and Savvy? And could you share how you select the decor featured in your space?
Wow, that's a great question because if I told my secrets, people would go, "No way." Um, so
Am I
I
getting a
have.
peek behind
Oh,
the
you
curtain?
are, you are.
Guys are getting a
I'm gonna
peek
peel
behind
it
the
back a
curtain.
little bit. I'm gonna peel
Zero.
it back. Because a lot of it is sheer luck. Not gonna lie, and we're only about 85% done. I was a builder for a lot of years, so everything that looks like it was built, the bars and I built those things. When we got here, things were in pretty rough shape. This was almost a complete remodel. Um, so along the way, for years, I have always wanted a gentleman's library, and I just, as I got older, it was where my heart just kind of fluctuated toward, and where I grew up, these were commonplace, but they were smoking lounges in general. I love speakeasies.
Oh, yeah.
Speakeasies is kind of that's my thing, and I wanted a cross between all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her when we were building it, I said, if nobody shows up, I'm going to have the most expensive man cave in the county. And everybody showed up. So
You're well loved.
yeah.
Your store was nominated on Voices of Habersham for Best Cocktail, bar none. Others were mentioned, there were some runner-ups, but hands down, Rich and Savage was the number one comment. I think I got 500 comments on that.
Wow, that does my heart really well. When we started out, I didn't know anything about bartending at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always loved cooking. I've always loved trying new things and flavors, and I've always loved mixing different things. So when I started bartending, I really didn't look at drinks that already existed.
Mm-hmm.
What I looked at was flavors and how they merged together. And so one of the things that the cigars is how we started, but it's the drinks that have taken over because we are a craft cocktail.
It's hard in this county to find a cocktail place that doesn't charge you,
Yeah.
$20 a cocktail.
Yes. We're pretty much baseline on our cocktails. We wanted to be affordable to most everybody, but we're also not looking for the guy who just wants to drink.
Right.
We're not built for that. We're built to come in and have a craft cocktail, and you go, "Wow, this is simply a great cocktail." The presentation is nice. The flavors are nice. All of our mixtures are handmade. All of our juices are come fresh from the fruits or the vegetables that we use or the leaves that we do. Even our basil is fresh every single day. So everything that you drink here is something that we have designed, that we have regular drinks that you would get in most places, but for the most part, our craft cocktails is what people come here for.
So you mentioned, this is not a bar. This is not a place to come and get sloshed.
That's right.
But so often, right, you hear the word adult, right? And I mean, if people think adult, it's often used to describe something salacious or some sort of vice, right? But this is an adult space that also aligns with the word maturity.
Sure.
So I think the word adult is abused so often.
For sure.
Because adult should mean something. And this is, again, it's an adult space where you can have an adult conversation. You can have an adult beverage. It's a coffee shop vibe, the kind of sense, but with an adult beverage.
That's right. That's what we have lost so much in the new generation, and I myself is included. dating back to the 80s and 70s and 80s with the upstart of all of the disco clubs and the nightclubs and the fast, bartending. And we invented the term speed bar because they were just throwing drinks out as fast as they could. They didn't have to be good. They just had to be quick.
Right.
And this is completely different. You need to be ready to wait. Some of these drinks take 5 or 6 minutes to make because there's just lots of detail. 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 items in the drink to create something. And so, just like the cigar, where even the lighting of the cigar is made for you to slow down, that's what this place is. We want to sit and chat. We want to talk about the events of the day. We try not to do a lot of politics in here. My TVs will never have politics on the screen. We just don't do that here. We don't care about the news. This is a place to escape away from that. We have plenty of problems in the world. We don't have to bring them.
And plenty of places to talk about those things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Plenty of opportunities for it.
For sure. But this is also one of the places that you can come and know that you're amongst other people that feel the way you feel.
Mm-hmm.
I even have some clientele that have drinking problems,
Mm-hmm.
and they have come in here knowing I will serve them.
Good. Wow. What a
And so I give mocktails to them for free.
Wow.
They just sit and drink with me because they like the atmosphere, but they always felt pressured to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And you're more than welcome to come in here and have a Coca-Cola, have a mocktail. Mocktails are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to drink. You don't have to smoke a cigar to enjoy my establishment.
Wow. So, cigar and bourbon pairings are signature at your lounge. It stands out on your website. What makes certain cigars pair so perfectly with specific bourbons?
That's another great question. Let's pull the curtain behind that one again.
All right.
There are ways to pair things that you can look at the ingredients of them and say, yeah, there's some cousins there. But for the most part, it's palate. If you have a sweet tooth, you're going to go towards a sweeter or more what we call Maduro, which is a light flavored cigar with a light bourbon or a little more sweet bourbon, not so rough on you. Wine's the same way. You're gonna, the harsher the cigar, it usually goes with a more dry wine. But for the most part, it's palatable because what's good to you doesn't necessarily mean it's good to me. It's good for me, or what's good for me is not necessarily good for you. And what you like doesn't mean I like it. These just seem to be universal things that in the past these have gone well with most palates, and that's how we look at them. So there are things that are in the cigar humidors that you could pull out, and normally we're going to have something that you're going to like or pair with it a little bit better. But for the most part, it's a guess.
Okay, so if I like espresso or like an Americano, if I ordered an Americano, what kind of cigar would I have that?
Our Drew Estates. Now you'll notice I have lots of them in my humidors, but I have 2 sections or 2 shelves dedicated just to my Drew Estates. They're probably the number 1 sellers in the United States, mostly for the fact that their wrappers are going to be a little sweeter. And what separates them is that in the inside of them are packed with pipe tobacco rather than cigar tobacco. So they're going to have a little lighter flavor than they will a regular cigar. So you start talking about a sweet coffee, that's what I would pair that with a little bit more. But we have a cigar. I love, and I tell everybody, even if you're not an espresso drinker, I have Cuban espresso. It pairs perfectly with almost all the cigars that we have.
Sounds amazing.
It really is too. That's all we do
goodness.
is Cuban coffee.
I can't wait to tell my husband.
Yeah, please bring him in.
My husband's Cuban.
Yeah, he'll be happy.
He's always looking for that kind of experience. He's very picky though. Let's see. So, can you tell us a little about your a little more about your alcoholic offerings, specifically those specific to liquor? Which you can't get everywhere in this region. There are places that will serve beer, that will serve wine, but they may not serve liquor, or they're serving liquor and it's like a Long Island iced tea.
So the licensing for alcohol is very complicated, or at least it can be complicated. And the cheaper route is to go no liquor, beer, and wine. And that is generally the way most places go, simply for the fact that once you add liquor to the inventory, the licensing, the taxation, the 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 bureaucracy of it jumps considerably. So a lot of places steer away from it. It also is because you can lose a lot of money just preparing bad drinks, and unfortunately, that's a commonplace. Mostly for the fact that most bartenders, and I don't take anything away from them, work in environments where they have to get them out very, very fast.
Right.
This isn't that environment. Therefore, when I choose my liquors to have on the shelf, most of them are geared towards a cocktail or pairing or something that the people here like to either sip on or mix with flavors that are hard to even come by. We are notorious for our old fashions.
Ooh, okay. So Don Draper.
Yes, it's a staple for here. Most places ruin old fashions due to the fact they don't take their time, they don't use good ingredients. Our old fashioned is what people come to. We smoke them, and our ingredients are all paired together so that it is a perfect old fashioned. And we have several different varieties of the old fashions. We also like to do things with the new blackberry brown, which is hard to come by. Our spicy margaritas are truly spicy margaritas, not a bunch of filler. Our whiskey sours are handmade with all fresh ingredients. They're not just poured out of a bottle someplace. Our bee's knees, which is popular since the 1920s, is all freshly made with homegrown honey right here. And all the ingredients are handmade. That's what differentiates us from other people. Stuff here is not just a bunch of bottle thrown. It's going to be handmade in front of you.
So I've only seen bee's knees in one other restaurant. This was in a Vietnamese restaurant in Alpharetta. And I've had it every time I go there, which is like once every 2 years. And it's such a treat. How did you find a bee? Is that as rare as I think it is? Because I'm not in cocktail culture. So is it well known or is it marginal?
It is a staple for most of your higher end, I will say higher end lounges. Due to the fact that it's one of the oldest cocktails in America. It was actually brought about during the Prohibition era when the alcohol was terrible. And so they started mixing things, lime juice, honey, simple syrups. These things made the drinks more tolerable, especially gin. Gin was awful back then. A lot of the whiskeys was just awful. So Prohibition's really what opened the eyes to what we would call the mixology of today. And the difference between mixology and bartending is most of the stuff that the bartenders just serve. They just throw syrups in there in the hopes that it takes the harshness of the burn of the alcohol out. Where what we want to do is accentuate the alcohol. We want to open up the alcohol without masking it behind a bunch of syrup.
Great to know. I love the idea and the sound of flavored alcohols. But so often, again, it's that syrup that I find repellent.
Yeah, most people. And it gives you a headache. And one of the things that fresh produce do with the alcohol is it doesn't give you the headache. It's fresh produce.
It's very cool. And can you tell me a little about your cigar offerings? Specifically, which would you recommend to a baby smoker like me? Baby cigar smoker.
That's another great question because you don't know, because palate is so important. You don't know what your palate is. And the palate is nothing more than your tolerance. what does my body like or reject? To be honest with you, a lot of people that are real, they're professional smokers. They come and buy things that I go, wow, I can't smoke that. I can't feel my feet when I'm going. It's really bold. I'm a mild smoker too. Even after all these years, I can only take so much. So I would recommend in my far humidor is most of those are in there are made for people who either are mild smokers, don't smoke very often, don't know their palate, or they just want to be social for the first time.
Right.
And so we have something like a Sweet Jane or which is what I was telling you before, Drew Estates, a Sweet Sample Fat Bottom Betty or a Velasco, or we can get down to what we call an infused cigar, which is a flavor. You can have vanilla, chocolate, or cognac, or some of these
Wow.
different flavors, and they actually infuse that cigar with the flavoring, so you don't even taste the cigar.
That sounds amazing.
It is. They are. They are.
Oh my goodness. So does it have like a vanilla taste?
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds so smooth.
Yeah, it is.
That's very cool. All right. Now it's a little fun. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you tell me which cigar and bourbon pairing that you would recommend for vacation.
Okay.
All right. So you are Deadpool. You just finished an epic battle with Wolverine. You're healing your wound with a nice salt bath. And as you lean into the warm waters of your clawfoot tub, what are you smoking and how are you pairing that cigar?
Wow. A big epic battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're winding down from it. You're healing your wounds.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm definitely drinking. I'm definitely smoking a Warhawk.
Oh, that
Absolutely.
sounds great.
Yeah, it's very bold. I'm gonna savor the moment of my big win. And I'm gonna pair that with what do you want that? I'm gonna pair that with a oh wow. I'm gonna pair that with probably a Hill Rock bourbon.
Okay.
It's gonna have all the earthy flavors to it. It's gonna pair real well with that.
All right.
And I'm gonna feel real good about myself on my day.
Absolutely
And hopefully I don't have to do that too often.
Well, yeah, you don't want to fight Wolverine every day.
Who does?
You're a college art professor with like the flat cap and the patches and the elbows, and you live on an academic's salary. But you have that caviar taste and that peanut butter budget. You want to look suave, but your income might not stretch to cover the full Cadillac experience. So, what is your cigar type, and what would you pair it with to drink?
Easy. I have some everyday smokes called factory smokes by
Mhm.
Drew States. I think some of them are sweet, some of them mild, some of them are very bold. Uh, they're not cheap smokes by any. They're not cheap. Called cheap sticks, but the price is cheap in
Mhm.
comparison. But they have a extremely high ratings.
Mhm.
And if you took the tag off of them, nobody would ever know. And then I'm going to pair that with a Bourbon. Bourbon is probably one of the best kept secrets in the alcohol world right now. It's actually made by Coors, and it's my go-to.
Interesting.
And it's inexpensive. And I would put it up there with some of the best stuff I have. And yet it's one of the cheaper ones that I have.
Perfect. So the slightly luxury brand cigar
Absolutely.
with the less luxury
Absolutely.
priced drink, and that balances out to an academic salary. I love it.
And if you're on a salary like that, you always want to choose something that nobody knows anything about.
So you're Elon Musk, and you just walked on Mars, and money is not an issue. What is your order? The world is your oyster, and you're feeling good, and you want to indulge.
I'm going to go with, for my cigar, I'm going to go with Padron 1926 anniversary. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Got a nice ring to it.
It is. And they are an amazing company with amazing smokes, and their sticks, even though they cost more. There is definitely a difference in what you buy.
Okay.
But I'm going to pair that with one of my peach and black walnut old fashions
Mm-hmm.
with some Woodford whiskey in it, smoked, of course.
Mm.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
sounds real. I'm not an aficionado, but even I can recognize that's a good pairing.
It's going to be a great pair, absolutely. That may be when we're done with this one. I may partake.
That's awesome. You're a wine drinker, but not just any wine. No, you swirl your wine in your cup before you sip, and you say things like, the grapes really sing in this vintage, despite the fact that it's a $7 bottle of Yellowtail. Where you sip with your Yellowtail.
I am smoking with my Yellowtail. Wow, great question. I am going to smoke a Fuente anyway.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's that's actually my go-to smoke. I think it's probably one of the best series smokes ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be one of my number one sellers, but it pairs well with everything, including a good $7 bottle of water.
Right. All right. Now, these are our rapid fire questions you answer in 3 to 5 words.
Okay.
What's the first thing you do every morning?
Like a minutes in general.
Just in general, first thing when you wake up. For me, it's pushing my cat off my face.
Right. The first thing I do is I get up and I look at the daily news.
Okay.
I do.
Cell phone?
Yep.
Yep.
It is. I grab it and make sure I'm up on time and look at the things I need to do today, and it's how I get my mind settled.
Yes. See, a lot of times people will answer something real sweet, and I'm like, I wake up like a gremlin, and the first thing I do is get in a fight with my cat. Favorite travel destination in North Georgia?
Favorite in North Georgia? Highlands. I love being up in Highlands.
Oh, I love Highlands.
I do. I think that there's just, it offers so much.
It's like a fairy tale.
It is. And I love the altitude. I love the waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
I love the weather. I love everything about it.
I found it completely by accident as a 21-year-old.
Once you go, you know you have.
It's magical.
It is. It is. It is.
Go-to restaurant after a long day at Rich and Savvy. Assuming you get out, well, everything is.
I was going to say Taco Bell. I will tell you, I really enjoy the mom and pops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a community brew tap whenever special occasions.
Yes, steaks are amazing.
They are. Everything they do is
exquisite.
Everything they put into it is the very best, and
cocktails are great.
Everything is. Their cocktails are, but they're very good, and excellence loves excellence.
It's true. You would recognize that. It's 100%.
It is, and I have lived by the expression that mediocre hates excellence and excellence hates mediocre. And so many times people do the bare minimum just to make a paycheck, and yet they're one of the few places that they really go above and beyond. And things that are free, they do them too. Mm-hmm. And so they would be my go-to if I have a great month. Yeah. But
if everybody's buying the 1926.
Yeah, everybody's doing 26s. Yeah. I go to. Wow, I really try to spread the wealth around here.
Good.
I do. I eat with everybody. Small businesses, they get my money.
I went to Fresco's for lunch yesterday with my husband and my friends because we have a hard time agreeing on one.
Sure. Sure.
And it reminds me, I don't know if you're a Gilmore Girls fan, there's a restaurant called Al's Pancake World where they just serve everything. And the running joke is that, oh, we have Indian food and they have Mexican food and pizza night. And that's how Fresco's. It's Al's Pancake World.
It is. It really is. It does have everything. Yeah.
She had Asian. I think my husband had like Mexican food. I had like steak and potatoes.
I would love to see more restaurants here. I'd love to see more variety, but at the same time, I do like what we have. I'm appreciative of the effort that goes in by the small mom and pop businesses.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of effort, a lot of variety for a small town too. What is your favorite coffee shop in North Georgia?
Favorite coffee shop? I really do like my coffee.
Me too.
I really like my coffee.
I'm not an aficionado with cocktails, but when it comes to coffee, I can be very selective.
Coffee. One of the nicest ones I really like to go to, and to be honest with you, it's not the coffee that drives me there, but as you go into Tallulah, the coffee shop there on the left-hand side,
I just
the train station.
Yes, Tallulah 1882.
I love what they've done with the place as far as the aesthetics of it.
It's incredible. It's a hard piece of art.
It is, and
their parking lot stays full.
It does. So it's one of my favorite ones, mostly for the aesthetics.
Oh, absolutely. It's a moving, living piece of art because they're always changing it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in. I appreciate how much effort goes into a business.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm the guy. I clean all the dishes by hand. I sweep the floor myself. I'm the one who does all the vacuuming. I clean all. I am the janitor. I'm the handyman. I'm the bartender. I'm the accountant. And so I really appreciate when these businesses, you can see the effort that goes into them to make them a destination.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs thinking about starting a business in a small town like Huntsville?
The best advice that I could give. The first one is to know the difference between owning a business and being an entrepreneur. Those are two different things.
Okay.
And a lot of people start businesses, and I've owned quite a few of them. They start businesses and they wonder why they fail. Mostly for the fact that they're not willing to do the things that they're asking others to do. They want to be in charge without knowing everything about that business. And they let it fall apart because they don't know the details. The second one is fire fast. I know it's not something you want to hear on the podcast, but the best advice I can give to any young entrepreneur or any young business owner is fire fast. You know very quickly whether somebody's going to be a positive or negative for your business. And everything that comes to that door is judging you. Right. They're surveying you. And the people that represent you are going to be that survey when they leave. And people take your business personally.
Oh, they do.
And you know whether or not somebody's going to be a good fit. And it does, just because they make you money doesn't make them a good fit for your business.
Right.
And so those are the best. And be ready. Be ready to work. This isn't a job. Owning a business is not a job. It's your life. And you need to determine what it is you're willing to get rid of or to lose to win. Because somebody who's your competition has already decided what they're willing to lose in order to win.
There's always a bigger bear.
And they've decided what they're willing to lose.
Exactly. Wow. That's great advice. It's ruthless, but it's great advice.
It is. And small towns are ruthless. Nobody is more brutal than small towns.
Sure.
Small business.
I bet. You only have so many chances to make a mistake.
You absolutely nailed that one. If you get any.
That's right. All right. So, are there any upcoming events or promotions at Rich and Savvy Cigar and Bourbon Lounge that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, please stay tuned to our Facebook and our website. We have lots of stuff. We try to do something every Friday night as far as live music is concerned. We're trying to bring in either bingo or trivia night on Thursday nights. So stay tuned. Probably in the end of this month or starting next month, we'll have that Thursday night going on. We have the Marine Corps birthday is November 10th, and on November 9th, we're going to have a big celebration, and we're inviting everybody from the Jeep community and the motorcycle community and the old antique car community to come out with some live bands and music and food, and that's going to be a big time. But definitely stay tuned to our Friday nights, Friday and Saturday nights. That's when we have the most going on. And don't forget that our Sunday afternoons, or we just call them lazy Sundays from 1 to 6. We will have all the games on it all the time. All Saturday and Sunday we have the games playing, and it's a time to just come out and relax and enjoy us and let us enjoy you.
I have a question. Do you allow Alabama fans?
We do. We play the Alabama game.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
We're not going to say we're not going to make fun, but we're still going to have it on. Absolutely. Yeah. Along with UF.
All right.
So if you play one, you play the other.
All right. Yeah. So I will say on my defense to all the Bulldog watchers out there, all 40 of you, I combine honestly, I believe football is genetic. It comes straight down the patrilineal line, right? You're born with it. And my father went to University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So my blood runs red. That makes it better.
DNA.
Yeah. So I didn't just choose them because they win a lot. I chose that. I'm not betraying my state for a different team.
Absolutely.
It is that I was born into this family.
Yeah, you really were.
Blood runs red.
DNA.
Absolutely. All right. So, guys, don't forget to visit Rich and Savvy Cigar and Bourbon Lounge in Clarksville, Georgia. Support local businesses and experience the luxury for yourself. You can follow them on social media for updates on upcoming events. Thank you so much, Rich, for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
So appreciate your time. It's been a real pleasure. And to our listeners, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a review, share on your social media pages, and tune in for our next episode next Monday. You won't want to miss what's coming up next on the new Cute North Georgia podcast. Thank you.